Hello, students. So, exercise 2A. Now, in this exercise, you're actually required to draw some number lines, right? So, I mentioned in class, some of your number lines need work, right? You need to actually have the arrows, the notches, and to represent the numbers using proper dots. Okay, so please take note of all this. But here's a demonstration, right? How to draw a proper number line. So we are told to actually represent all these numbers on the number line. And we're going to do that. So the first thing we're going to take note is to recognize what is the smallest number in this group of numbers, this set of numbers, which is -2, and the largest is 4. So my number line must go from -2 to 4. It makes sense, right? So let's do this. And of course, I recommend that you use a ruler. So use a ruler. It should look something like this, right? Yep, that'll be good. There. Okay, there's actually an arrowhead, a bit small. So why don't I thicken it? No problem. I'll use the same color, blue, right? So we have this situation. Okay, so we go from -2 to 4, right? So we go -2, right? Then we have let's see, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that's about right? So we go from -2 to 4, and then we can start marking out the values. So the first one is a -0.55. So -0.55, let's use a different color so that it's more obvious on your screen. Will be somewhere around here, right? This portion here in between 0 and -1 is 0.5, so slightly less than that. To the left, less than that. So over here will be -0.55. So I can label it, right? This is -0.55. And then the next one is 4. So above the 4, let's do this. And then this is 4. The next one is -1/10. Now, -1/10 is actually -0.1, which will be somewhere around here, right? But, I mentioned that this is about -0.1. We do not write -0.1 here. We follow whatever the question provides for us. If the question is in fraction form, we write it in fraction form. If the question is in decimal form, we write it in decimal form, right? And then we have 2, which is over here, right? This is 2. And finally, we have -2 over here, right? So this is how we can represent all these numbers on the number line. Okay, so you do it properly, it should look like this. If you have not done it properly in your first attempt, do try again, all right? Right, the next one, again, we are supposed to draw the number line, but this time around, on the number line, they want us to indicate the numbers more than or equals to 2, but less than 10, right? So same thing, I'm going to have my line. Let's do this. The line will look something like that. Okay, let me make the arrowhead more obvious, right? And, well, since we are dealing with prime numbers, so, well, we can just start from 1. No issue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That will be good, right? So after that, we need to mark out the prime numbers. So what are the prime numbers that's in this range? Well, the first prime number is actually 2. So let's mark it out. Followed by 3, followed by 5, and 7. And yes, from 2 to 10, less than 10, these are the only 4 prime numbers. So let's label them properly. This is 2, 3, 5, and 7. There we go. Okay, so let's move on. Well, the next one, they want us to write down 4 integers between -7 and 0. Now, this is quite straightforward. The purpose why this question is chosen for you to practice is because I want to make use of this opportunity to explain the meaning of the word inclusive. So when we say in between -7 to 0, now maybe just in between maybe just in between 1 to 5. For example, if I in normal conversation, I say, choose a number between 1 to 5. Technically, if we say that, it does not include the number 1 and it does not include the number 5. If you want to be able to include the number 1 and 5, when we say between 1 to 5, we should say between 1 to 5 or 1 and 5 inclusive. So that's the meaning of the word inclusive. It means the numbers that we use to limit the range, that number is included. So when we say between -7 to 0 inclusive, means it can be -7, it can be 0. If we don't have the word inclusive, it means that -7 and 0 is not part of the numbers that we're looking at, right? So what's the situation now, right? The situation is right now, we have a number line, and we go from -7 all the way, right, to 0, right? So this is how the number line more or less look like. And we are supposed to select 4 integers from all this. So you can just choose any 4, right? I mean, you can just easily just go for 4 in the center to play safe. But, you know, if you choose -7, -6, -5, -4 is fine. If you choose -3, -2, -1, and 0 is also fine. So just choose any 4 in this range. So in this case, I will write now, right? So 4 integers would be, right? We can go -5, -4, -3, -2. Excuse me, I have itchy nose, right? Did I sneeze too loud into your speaker? I hope not. I hope not. Right. Let's go on to the next one then. Part D, write down 2 numbers between -5 and -4. So what's the difference here, right? So take note, in part C, we have integers. So we are only considering whole numbers. We cannot put a -2.5 over here, no, right? But part D is fine, right? 2 numbers between -5 to -4, which means non-integers, right? Decimal and fractions are actually allowed, okay? But they did say that it's between -4 and -5. They did not have the word inclusive. So don't choose -4 and -5. So I could just choose 2 numbers as in between. For example, oops, it's in highlighter mode. I can just go, let's say, -4.9 and -4.8. Okay, you can still go on, -4.7, -4.6, etc. They are all actually possible answers. So just give me 2 numbers between -5 and -4. Okay. Right, this one. The boiling point of alcohol is 80 degrees Celsius. The boiling point of water is 100, right? So what happens is if I have water and alcohol mixed together, and then if I heat up the water until 95, then what happens? All the alcohol will boil and just evaporate. Only the water will remain. Okay. So that's what's happening. So what happened is over here we have 3 type of liquid, but take note they are negative, right? So I know that many of you are still not yet comfortable with the idea of negative numbers. So this is a good practice, right? So what we can do is, well, the number line, right? Okay, let me try to draw the number line properly. So I'll draw a simple sketch of the number line, right? And then I will have, right, maybe -196 degrees Celsius. Okay. Then next one, -183 degrees Celsius is somewhere here. And then somewhere a bit further out, right, the value between these 2 is quite small, but then the next one is almost 80, right? So it's a bit further out. Well, we try to be as accurate as we can. Of course, we don't need to insist you are 100% accurate here, but it should be reasonable, right? So there should be more space between this -183 and -108 than compared to -196 to -183, okay? And well, we can actually do some labeling, right? So what happened? This is liquid. This is nitrogen. Over here, okay. So these are the boiling points, right? This is xenon, and over here is oxygen, right? So what happened? They say that a mixture of these three types of gases when in the liquid form is kept at a temperature of negative 215. So negative 215, okay, let me erase this and extend this a little bit, right? So negative 215 is way over here. Okay, so this is the current temperature, right? So if the temperature, if the liquid is on the right side of this temperature, it is in liquid form, right? They are all in liquid form right now. But what happened is, okay, the temperature slowly rises. So maybe I use a different color pen. Okay, not pen. I just use a highlighter so they can see what's happening, right? Nah, color pen is better. Change my mind. So the temperature started here, right? And then it starts to move. Heat up, it starts to move. So it moved until it reached the place negative 185. So where exactly is negative 185? Well, negative 185 is over here, right? Right here. This is negative 185. So my temperature actually moved here. And what happened is when it is on this second red line, xenon and oxygen still on the right side. So xenon and oxygen it's not affected. It is still in a liquid form. Whereas nitrogen, right, will start to go from liquid form and become gas again, right? So to answer the question, let's change my pen back. The answer is which of the liquids will turn into the gas? Nitrogen will turn into a gas. And the reason is because, okay, the boiling point of nitrogen, let me try to write it with better handwriting. Nitrogen is lower, okay, is lower than negative 185 degrees Celsius. Okay, so that's the scenario. So you can see that with the use of the number line, it's easier to visualize what's going on. I've seen some of your submitted work and you have all kinds of methods to label things and so on. But hey, we just learned the number line, right? So learn to apply the number line. That's the whole point of why we are learning number line. And we realize that if you apply the number line correctly in these kind of scenarios, it helps us to see very clearly what is required of us and we won't make mistakes, right? So learn to use the number line properly and appropriately. Okay, so with this, I hope you are successful with this exercise. If not, well, do your corrections and learn from the corrections. Have a nice day.